are back this month with an amazing new club theme for you guys. It's called, in my best French, Vieillissement Prolongé.
It sounds like...
What does that sound like to you?
Sounds like a very long session.
It does.
Bocce.
Bocce? Well, just to talk about what that is, it's extended aging in the cellars, and the French call it Vieillissement Prolongé, or VP for short. It's actually a famous producer, cult grower called Igli Urier, who has a champagne called VP or Vieillissement Prolongé.
They've coined that. I don't know whether they've trademarked it, but you don't see it on many other bottles.
You see it on the back, and they're talking about it. So we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna talk about why the champagnes taste so good after longer aging, and why some of them might need it.
And specifically, you know, you would expect that on a vintage. There's an expectation on a vintage champagne that you're going to have a longer time aging on lees, and we'll explain that. But we are talking about a non-vintage cuvée, so a blend of multiple years, but with an extended aging period. What are the effects?
Yeah.
How does it taste different? Yeah. And why would we do it?
Cool. So the first producer we're looking at is Vincent Renoir. They're based in the Grand Cru village of Verzy.
Awesome. 2 Grand Cru champagnes, that's so cool.
2 Grand Cru, we got Verzy and then Avis. Now there's an interesting sort of play. So his son is stepping into the game now. They're moving to the 4th generation. His name is Adrian. And there's some very interesting things happening between them because last 10 years he's been to enological school, he's graduated, and he's got his own views on how things should be, right?
Which is kind of common. Like, you know, you've got all these generations that go from father to son, and I've said this before, but back in the early days, you didn't question your father or your grandfather. You just took the reins, you did what they did, and you carried on the business. And maybe after time, you'd make some subtle changes. But, you know, even we know this with our children. Modern day children are opinionated, they're strong, they're meant to have strong views on the world, and you get that with these new young winemakers that are taking the reins of the houses.
You've got to challenge the status quo sometime, you know, if you're going to put your stamp on things and make it interesting. So I've got a paragraph here that sort of sums it up, so I'm going to read through that because they have a bit of a chat back and forth. So it's the story of the Renoir business is an old one. The conversation and tension between father and son, classic. The Renoir family has been involved in champagne in the Grand Cru village of Verzy for 4 generations, but it was the generational handoff between the 3rd and the 4th that is the heart of the current story. Vincent, whose name is on the label, has been handing the reins over to his son, Adrian. Adrian has, in the last decade, graduated from school, as we mentioned, and his thoughts and ideas about how to run the domain are very, very different. So Vincent says, in Champagne, only 1.5% of the production is organic or biodynamic because the climatic conditions in general are very difficult. That's true. And he says, especially for those of us who are more to the north, which is Montagne de Reims,
slightly cooler.
North of the mountain. And Adrian, his son, retorts, that's not true. He says, it is possible, and in fact, I've already begun to use biodynamic preparations with excellent results. Vincent concedes to a point, fine, but take it slow. Caution is needed. So that's a nice little play, and I wanted to read that because it sort of sums everything up.
Yeah, you do. I mean, you've got this tension between father, who probably knows a little bit more, son, who's got a new perspective on the region, he studies, he's fresh out of oenological school. Proof is in the pudding, I suppose.
Well, you've got to, like I said, you've got to challenge it. The father's only been doing what he's been doing for a long time, and he hasn't changed things. Now, you know, with a new generation, Adrian would have met lots of other younger winemakers in the area, and he's like, right, let's bring this into play. Let's do something interesting, something fun, something different. Why not?
Okay, well, let's look at the wine, and the proof is in the pudding.
Let's do it. So the wine we have is 72 Mois. Kyla's laughing about her airheadness. Okay, so I'm just gonna carry on.
Just carry on.
It's 50-50 Chardonnay Pinot Noir from Verzy. Verzy's a really beautiful site in the Montagne de Reims, because it's based on silex soils. I won't spoil what that is for you. You can go and search it, do some homework, right? Go and find out what silex is.
Oh, come on, give us a hint.
Oh, there's flint.
It rhymes with hint.
Yeah, there's lots of. It used to be an old flint quarry in where these vineyards are.
You get this kind of match-struck character in the wine.
Correct.
Which is really quite interesting.
It's a unique sort of acid profile as well. So I love it. It shows in the wine. But what you see, and even our lovely cameraman here was tasting Nathan. He tasted it and he said, "Wow, that's really like tart."
Yeah.
And for a wine that's been aged for 6 years, he's right. There is some, high acid. There is some tartness.
Has he held back some of that malic acidity? Because it is quite, for a wine of 72 months in the cellar, 6 years in the cellar, we've got, and 50 Pinot, 50 Chard from a Grand Cru area, there is a real spine, a backbone of acidity that's pulling it all together.
I would imagine.
That's still young to me.
There's some, yes, it is, you're right. I would imagine there's some partial malo in this. It's sort of stainless steel and barrel. It's been wild fermented, so natural yeast. And then something really interesting, there's no sulfur added at the end, and it's an extra brut. So what they use is a method, and I wanted to sort of tell the club members this. It's called jetting. And jetting is literally a little squirt of air in the top. After they disgorge it and they get all the lees out the top, right? They squirt its CO2 through the top, and then they cork it straight away. And what they're doing is just displacing any oxygen potential at all, and then putting it in and taking it out. So it's a far more natural way of handling.
Now, let's just talk quickly about this prolonged aging process, right? So we're talking specifically about when the wine is in the winemaker's cellar in Champagne. So we are picking our grapes, fermenting for the first time, bottling, blending, sticking in a second dose of yeast with some sugar, down into the cellar. We've got an aging process where the yeast is inside the bottle. That's breaking down over time, going through a process called autolysis, where the yeast is interacting with the wine. Over this prolonged period of time, the longer we leave the wine in the cellar with the yeast in the bottle, we're getting an increase in aromatic profile, intensity of flavor, texture.
Yep.
We're having a decrease in acidity and an actual physical softening of the bubble, the mousse, the attack.
Yeah.
So you're getting a silkiness of palate, a more vinous wine.
Yeah, look, it can,
softer wine.
It can, from what I've seen of longer aged wines, you do get that creaminess coming through. That's really the overarching texture, that mouthfeel. Yes, you'll have acid, but you'll have creaminess too. And that's sort of what autolysis and yeast lees does. It's really good.
So for all of our connoisseurs, we are bringing you Champagne La Rogerie.
Oh.
No secret that we are huge fans of the House of La Rogerie.
Yes.
Look, it's very unusual for us to put a wine of that caliber, which is so small in its quantity in the club. It's a difficult thing to do, but it is a great example of prolonged aging.
Yep.
So
for a non-vintage as well.
Exactly right.
Yep.
For two wines, they've got two champagnes in the collection. They've got Le Grande Vie, which is their entry level, which is a minimum of 5 years of aging, and then they have Heroin, which is their vintage, which is 10 years and belong. So we're talking a house that has significant aging timeframes. La Rogerie is named after François' grandfather, who gifted him the vineyard. We are talking a specific vineyard site in Avise. Those of you who know Champagne know Avise is located in the heart of the Côte de Blanc. We are Grand Cru 100% ranking Chardonnay. So we've got Grand Cru from Montagne de Reims. We've got Grand Cru from Chardonnay being Avise. These classifications of Grand Cru, Premier Cru, Autre Cru were given some time ago, and in essence they were given to the purity of the chalk, the quality of the subsoil, how low or how little the topsoil is before the vines are hitting that chalk, and this transfer of minerality and the tension. And the tension then gives us aging potential.
Yeah. Well, look, each Grand Cru or each area that you start to visit through Champagne has its own personality, and Avise is distinctly Avise, and you'll see it. There's that beautiful citrine, mineral. It's very vivacious, very energetic sort of styles of Champagne, and some of them go sort of towards that creamier style, and some are really like mineral and pure like this one.
Flinty and bony. La Rogerie is Justine. Petit Boxler, and François, a young couple, a really dynamic couple. They have vineyards in Alsace, where her family are from, and they've got vineyards in Champagne, and everything they do is absolutely top-notch.
It's pretty good.
Champagne that's coming out to all of our connoisseurs this month is Le Grande Vie. It's the good life, and goddamn, you would have a good life if you drank this every day, would you not, Kiri?
That'd be pretty good. You'd keep
You'd
you
be
young.
pretty happy.
It'd keep you young.
Well, you've got...
What am I having on my cereal today? Wow.
Look, we'll have it with your cereal, perhaps. Maybe not on it. So Le Grande Vie is 100% Chardonnay from a Grand Cru village of Vevey. So they have some very important neighbours. We've got some serious pedigree going on within this region. And we've got the base of 2017 plus 5 years of aging in the cellar. So we're getting some real complexity, some character. The movement of the mousse is very slow, it's very refined. The size of the bubble is minuscule. We've got this gentle attack on the palate, this wild complexity, this yeastiness, this toastiness. Chardonnay moving from its infancy of being bright, citrus, tropical fruits into something that's more developed, more powerful, more bold, more round. This is why we age champagne, is it not?
It is, and actually, look, each base year has its own slight version of that particular vineyard and style. And I think this one has a subtlety in 2017 as well. It's really, really delicate, but it starts to build on that, and flavor-wise, I'm starting to see it now. It's really good.
It's quite developed. Now, something that's very interesting is personal preference of taste. Now, yes, of course, when you're aging for a long period of time, that's a big investment from the house, but that often translates to an increase in cost because you're holding your asset back for such a long period of time. Now, some people like their champagne fresh and young, and there is a shortening horizon from a lot of the champagne houses who are pulling back the aging timeframes because we've got such high demand and such low yields
so
at the moment.
So it's commercial needs as opposed to winemaking philosophy and sort of approach.
And you'll only see this type of prolonged aging in a small family business that's got that control, even though they're under financial pressure as well.
Yeah, accountants don't like bottles in the cellars at all. They're just like, why are they saying, let's just sell them.
It's a big investment.
It is.
But it's also a particular taste in style, is it not? And you can't underestimate that. So what you need to expect when you're having a prolonged aged wine is more power, less acidity,
more palate
softening, more palate weight.
Yeah, a creamy texture, potentially.
Creamy texture, but you're getting more of that yeasty, toasty character because naturally you've got a process of yeast breaking down the autolysis coming through. So this is something that you need to anticipate. More often these wines are better with food. This is why we age for a longer period of time. Increased power, lower acidity, a more interesting experience for the end user, which is you.
Right, to sum up this month's club topic.
And pretty special wines.
Pretty special wines. I think you're going to all love them. Vieillissement Prolongé.
So sexy.
I see, if you can do it, works. So the way to find out how these wines are aged, and if you're buying and shopping and you're at a bottle shop or something like that, or shopping on Emperor, look on the back of the label. You'll see on the back of the label, there's some information on when it went to the cellar, and when it was disgorged. They'll give you an indication of aging and time.
What are some of those words?
So,
what might you see in French?
So what you might see is mise en cave, which is going into cellar, and
vendange.
Vendange, which is harvest.
Is the harvest,
and then
that'll be 1 year.
And then dégorgement. Dégorgement is disgorgement
yeast out of the bottle.
And that's when it was literally popped and corked. Right, so that time frame you can just work it out backwards and go, oh, it's roughly 4.5 years, 5.5 years, 7 years. Geez, that's 10 years. So not all wineries will do it, but the growers that are 4-5 hectares, like these guys, absolutely want to do it. Yeah. And there's often a code, like on this one, the Vincent Renoir. If you see, it says dégorge LE, and then there's 09-2020. So in September 2020, that's when it was disgorged. And you know it's 72 months, so you work backwards, so it's around 2013, 2014 it went into the cellar.
Yeah.
Pretty easy. So I hope you enjoy the wines. I'm going to work out some food pairing options for them too.
There is a plethora of options.
There's so much.
When you have champagne that's aged for a longer period of time, you got more palate weight, more body, more layers of texture and power.
Yeah.
You open up your versatility for cuisine pairing.
For this one, I was thinking like baked sea bass with fennel and, you know, something herbal but vegetal at the same time and fresh, because that is nice
Baby
tang
carrots,
in it. Whereas this guy, you could probably introduce something creamier, something softer, even more, a little bit more exotic. So that will be in your monthly
risotto.
Email.
We will experiment with the cooking, shall we? And we will partner it in. Ladies and gents, amazing champagne, well done, Kiri. Grand Cru from 2 of the best regions in Champagne, aged for an extra long period of time. We love hunting high and low to bring you the best champagnes. We hope you enjoy them as much as we do. Until the next time, keep drinking champagne.
Cheers. Terroir and Blanc heritage installed the cellars of Francois' grandparents, and in 2016 La Rogerie was born in Alsace.
2016?
No, 2015.
In Alsace.
Did you know how wide your mouth opens when you yawn? Are you familiar with how big that fucking yawn is?
No.
It's
Massive.
It's huge.
It's one of the reasons why I started dating her.
Ew.
Do you want to introduce the Vieillissement Prolongé? Or would you like me to do it? I think I should do it.
Vieillissement Prolongé.
Yeah, that's definitely me.
Yeah. Oh, I've got too many champagnes for that.
Vieillissement Prolongé. She was writing that. She was totally writing that. How is it? How is it, Nathan? Tarty.
Light and tangy. Light and tangy.
Light and tangy. Get into it.
Just how I like my women, light and tangy.
Did you say white and tangy?
Light. Oh my god.
3, 2.
I've got lipstick on my teeth.
Wait,
I'm just
good
checking.
timing.
No, you have not.
Oh, just checking. Sorry, count me in again.
Okay.
Are you just going to read from your laptop?
No, that's one part. Read from the laptop. It's a quote. They're talking between father and son,
He's
and
a
it's
fucking amateur, this one. Seriously. All right, ready? Is your prompter ready?
I'm getting on a plane on Monday, people. Right?
Rolling the prompter.
Awesome. We did it.
We did.
Let's talk about the
I
wine.
read off the screen properly.
Okay, let's just focus.
All right.
Continue.
Focus.
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 I'm serious. I need to go, so just jump in.
I'm serious.
I might just go out to an event just for the fuck of it now.
We're all coming with you, by the way.
We're gonna just.
Hurry the fuck up. Get into it.
I'm ready. I'm just waiting for him to count me in.
Nate, can you count him in? Because he's just faffing over here.
Faffing.
Lord. 3, 2. Smile, Kyla.
Sorry, I
1.
got distracted with the counting.
Action.
1, 2.
Kyla, how long is that?
72 months. It's a long
Yeah,
time.
but how long is that in years?
I don't know. 4?
6. It's 6, Kyla.
Can we not
She went
do
to
that?
business school, by the way, everyone. Yeah? Commerce. Business final commerce.
Can we cut that and do that again?
It's a 50-50 blend
No,
of Chardonnay.
I'm not putting that in. Can we continue from the start?
Why? Just keep going.
I don't know. No,
That's
we're
all
not
right.
keep going. We're going to start
They're
again.
club
no.
members. They
no.
love seeing this stuff back and forth.
No. I was thinking about my outfit for tonight. Can you please go back and start
Oh
again?
my God, you are such an airhead.
Count him in, quick.
3, 2.
Fuck's sake.